Good evening, everybody, and welcome. My name is Sabir, and I direct events here at the Strand. Before we launch into a discussion of Michelle Buteau's collection of comedic essays, Survival of the Thickest, I'd like to share a little bit of history about the Strand. The Strand was founded in 1927 by Benjamin Bass over on 4th Avenue's Book Row. Stretching from Astor Place to Union Square, Book Row gradually dwindled from 48 bookstores until, after 93 years, the Strand is a sole survivor, now run by third generation owner Nancy Bass Wyden. We want to thank all of you for your support. Without our loyal community of book lovers and authors, we wouldn't be here today, and we are so very appreciative of it. So, tonight we are thrilled to have with us comedian and actress Michelle Buteau for the launch of her new essay collection, Survival of the Thickest. Michelle is a comedian, actress, and host known for her roles in The Circle, Always Be My Baby, First Wives Club, Someone Great, Russian Doll, and Tales of the City, as well as her stand up specials, including Welcome to Buteaupia on Netflix and Comedy Central. She has been named one of the 10 comedians to watch by Esquire, and her podcast, Late Night Whenever, was listed among the best of the year by Time. Michelle lives in the Bronx with her husband and family. She and her husband also run Vandermost Modern, a vintage furniture store in Brooklyn. Joining Michelle in conversation is Tessa Thompson. Tessa is a critically acclaimed film, television, and theater actress and is also making her mark as a producer as well. In May 2019, she appeared on the cover of Time magazine, showcasing her efforts as a trailblazer and leader of the next generation. In February 22, in February 2022, Thompson will reprise her role as Valkyrie in the fourth installment of the world-renowned Thor franchise, Thor: Love and Thunder. She originated the role in 2017 in Thor: Ragnarok, opposite Chris Hemsworth. Directed by Taika Waititi, the Marvel Cinematic Universe blockbuster film grossed over $800 million worldwide and also starred Tom Hiddleston, Kate Blanchett, Jeff Goldblum, and Mark Ruffalo. She also made a brief appearance in Avengers Endgame in April 2020. This past spring, Thompson starred in Q Code's mystery sci-fi podcast, The Left Right Game, which she also produced. The 10-episode series focused on Alice, an idealistic young journalist who tries to make a name for herself at a new job by following a group of paranormal explorers obsessed with a seemingly harmless pastime known as the left right game. The journey takes her into a supernatural world that she and the other members of the expedition cannot handle or survive. The podcast was created by Jack Anderson and is based on his original internet blog of the same name. Following the successful release of the audio drama, Amazon Studios secured the rights to turn this series into a television show with Thompson also producing. Thompson can next be seen in Sylvie's Love, which she executive produced and co-stars in. Thompson currently resides in Los Angeles. So, as a final note before we begin, at the end of the event, we will be doing an audience Q&A, so make sure to drop your questions in the Ask a Question feature at the bottom of your screen. And so, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Michelle and Tessa to the stage.
You have it!
Listen, I can't wait to get it signed. I have it. I have like things underlined. I was really nerding out reading this, and I thank you so much for sending it early to me. It has been such a joy. Your special came at such a good time. I watched it twice. Like, it's been such a hard year. This has been such a gift. So congratulations and thank you. And hi.
Oh my God. First of all, thank you. You are so busy. I mean, if you're not creating content, you're saving the world. And you're just being a joy and always having a fly hairstyle. I don't know how you do it.
Listen, I didn't do it alone. This took, can you just guess how many hours?
I feel like it's a full working day. Like, I work at the bank, it's 9 to 5.
No, listen, and we texted, right? Because we were like chatting a little bit. So you saw the beginning.
The video is very tipsy.
Of that experience. Yeah, I feel like I had to look for a text message from you today, and I just, when you can like search a word, I just searched drunk because I remembered I remembered that was in your text message, and that's how I found it. So cheers.
Cheers. I mean, at least I'm consistent.
Cheers to you. What's up? Hi, Strand. This is so cool. This is like such a joy. I got so excited when you asked me to do this. I love the Strand. I miss New York. I love being able to go and hear people talk about their work and rifle through a bookstore. So this is, a weird way to do it, but I'm so happy.
The safe way, and thank God we're here. I mean, I didn't even realize this is something that I miss. I would walk by the Strand, and I'm like, "Ooh, I have time," because it's like, am I gonna go to Forever 21 to the plus size section and get a V-neck that will last for 2 days? Am I gonna go to DSW and get like a new pair of booties to walk around? But I always love going to the Strand, and I miss it. I miss just walking around and looking at records and just having that day to yourself where you have coffee and just, pick up a scarf from a street vendor. I even miss road rage. I miss being petty with people.
I know. I've still, I'm in Los Angeles, so I still have gotten to be petty and rageful on the road. You're making me miss DSW. Like, I miss a booty that you didn't know you needed, that you get 70% off. So I'm curious, you have so much going on, because I didn't know this, but when I read the book and then I wrote you and I was like, this is a show. Is this a show? And you're like, yeah, bitch, it's a show. It's happening, right? Maybe, I hope.
I hope. I mean, I don't know if I can announce it yet, but people are interested in turning this book into a show.
I'm interested in turning this book into a show. I want to put my name in the ring. You have had so much going on between the Netflix special, you're raising twins, you have other projects, you're like studying lines tonight for something you have tomorrow morning. Yeah. Why did it feel like this is also a time to write a book? And how did you do it? How do you have the time?
You don't, right? You just figure it out. So I'm in Atlanta right now, filming season 2 of First Class Club, which is amazing. And Jill Scott is just beyond a joy to work with. She is a sister, she is a mother, she's an auntie, she's all the things you could ever want. And she actually just texted me last night. She's like, do you want to go for a walk? She likes long walks in the park. That is actually true. But, why I wrote the book is such a good damn question, because I asked myself that a lot when I couldn't get through an essay. But things were starting to happen in my life that were out of my control. And I was going through a lot of painful stuff, but I still had to keep performing and working and doing stuff, and rightfully so, for money, but also some sort of sense of normalcy. And I was doing stand-up, but I was also doing a lot of podcasting and storytelling about stuff that couldn't fit in stand-up. And people really responded to it in a way that made me feel less alone, that they could feel less alone. Whether it's fat shaming, just really trying to jump into body positivity without anyone helping you, to feel, to sort of feel comfortable in your own skin, to, realize how misogynistic healthcare is. If you need something as a woman and something's gone wrong with your body and you're always like annoying if you talk about it, just to even be a Black woman in a doctor's office and feel sad and have people sort of mistake that for an attitude. It's like all these things were happening to me and I had nowhere to put them. But like I said, the storytelling of it all was really therapeutic. And so I just was writing these things down. I'm like, I guess I have stories. And, plus everyone's like, you should write a book. I'm like, I should sleep at night. That's what I do.
Well, because I really loved reading this, because I feel like so much of your stand-up really focuses on your adult life. And also, I'm always so, just really in awe of people that can get up on a stage and think like, I'm going to make a lot of people laugh. And also, I feel like there's this idea that a lot of that comes from pain, right? And comes from trauma. Like the ability to be funny comes from having to laugh away the pain of whatever has happened. And so I felt like it was so nice to get to know your childhood experiences and also meanwhile have it be so incredibly funny. But what was that? Was it also painful inside of the, to be unearthing these childhood experiences, to be excavating and interrogating sort of like the person that you've become through the person that you have been?
The most painful part about it really was trying to figure out how to not make people look bad. Because when you're a child, you remember things in such a different way than they probably were or whatever. It's sort of like going back to your childhood home, or, whether it's an apartment or a townhouse or whatever. And it always seems so much bigger than what it is. And so, our memories are skewed a little bit, right? So I'm like, how do I retell this story without sounding like an asshole?
Right.
We could say anything and be like, well, you don't understand funny, or you didn't get I didn't mean it that way. But print is like an emotional tattoo forever, and you better think about what you're going to say and mean it. So
yeah, I'm watching The Sopranos for the first time.
The first time?
Yeah, I had never
yourself a gun.
Yeah, I end up like Shazamming. The music is fire in The Sopranos, and also the fashion. But so obviously I'd like been sort of steeped in that world, and I loved hearing about sort of your Jersey experience and just like growing up in Jersey and having been like, I remember I did a play and there was this girl that was from the Jersey, she'd always say, and there was like another person in the play that was also from Jersey, and they would spend so much time. And you say in the book, I love this idea that there are very few states that feel like a nationality onto themselves, which Jersey is. Do you feel like you're still a Jersey girl at heart? And what does feel particular about Jersey? I guess as an outsider, I still don't understand.
Yeah, man, Jersey is sort of, it's like I said, it's almost its own culture. It's a state of mind. It's the way you become fast friends with somebody that you go hard for, and all of a sudden you're chosen family. You're my brother, you're my sister, over like 3 tequila shots or whatever else you bonded over. It really is just the Northeast in general. We're just a very fighty, aggressive people. That doesn't mean that we can't work it out. And I think, people are just like, oh, they're mean. It's like, no, we just have to be a bit louder, but it doesn't mean that we're, not nice. And I make a joke about that in my Netflix special because my husband thinks I sound aggressive all the time. And I really do think he feels like he just hears DMX, like, are we going to bed? bed? And, that's just what it is. And I'm proud to be from Jersey, but at a certain point, I was like, I got to get out. I got to get out and see what the rest of the world is like. And so I went to school in Miami. Where did you go to school?
Here in Los Angeles. But, my family lived half in New York and Brooklyn growing up. So I was like always between the two. But I love that, because you talk about this experience of being raised around so many Italians and Irish folks. And I love that section when you're talking about Hakeem and like, there is a sort of community inside of roundness that you're like, oh, I know what a goat is. Yeah. But then when they're like slaughtering the goat, you're like, help. But this idea of just sort of like unity and to be around someone that does feel like home in a way, is that what it felt like when you were suddenly in Miami, that you were like, my people?
Oh my God. Absolutely. Absolutely. I felt like I saw myself in so many different families from so many different islands and countries. I mean, not that an island is in the country, but I've never been around so many South Americans. Like, it was bananas. But we all had an aunt that was single and drunk at a dinner. We all had an overly Catholic, conservative mom. We all had like a friend that was just like, oh no, Tessa, where'd you go?
I'm not here.
Oh, I don't see your video.
Am I here?
I don't see you. Do you guys see her?
I see
Both
myself.
videos
It's awful.
are still on screen.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
I was like, I think I'm here.
Okay. I mean, I don't see you, but that's okay. Okay. Edith says that she sees you, so I believe Edith and everybody else.
Okay. I don't see myself because I covered myself with something, but I see you.
Do you cover yourself?
Sometimes, because it's just, I don't need it. You know what I mean? I just I don't need to see it.
Do you watch yourself in movies?
Yeah, I do, because, well, especially recently because I've been producing, so I'm like watching and having to engage with the cut and give notes, and so it has helped me be. I mean, there's nothing objective, right? But do you watch yourself, or is that hard to do?
I would like to. No, I don't like to watch myself do stand up or like listen back to it because I feel like it's like watching myself take a shit. It's like it feels good. I did it. Whatever.
But do you have the kind of thing where, like, if a joke doesn't land, is there the opportunity to massage when you listen back, or you watch, or you just sort of like it's intuitive and you can figure it out next time?
Yeah, I think it's intuitive, and I remember it's something working on that and how I can like sort of shape it. But you know, Seinfeld and like a lot of comedians that aren't Seinfeld, you know, will tape themselves and listen to it, have somebody also write their sets down and while they're doing it and what they could do better. And that, God bless them, good for them. That's just not what she is, you know.
Yeah.
But I think Hat must be like, you're a creative therapist, essentially, sort of trying to pull stuff out of everybody to get to this goal. Like every project is probably like a wedding where it's like, here's the bigger picture. How can we make that happen?
Totally. And like a wedding in the sense where you forget to like eat the food. Isn't that what people always say?
Yes, I wrote it in my book, honey. I was dieting so hard that at my wedding, I lost almost 60 pounds. My dress was falling off of me. It was so stupid. And I had a potato and a tequila and blacked out for like 3 hours. I'm like, what is the point of dieting? You are fine the way you are.
I really love that you talk about your father as this force that had to like almost troll you into body positivity. Do you know what I mean? That like he was like, what about this? And you were like, no, this. And then he was like, that's right, that a girl. I love that.
You know, it's so funny that you bring up my dad because obviously like I'm connected to you because I love your spirit. But I had no idea that we were connected through other bonds and that, you know, we are cousins through marriage, which is wild.
Which is what?
Through the Haitian side. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, because obviously I don't know that part of the family. Y'all, this is like some Caribbean stuff. Don't worry about it. It's in the book. But you just keep finding family just later and later in life. Everything's a 23 episode. In fact, that's the much though. 23 me. And it's all my cousins I never met before. but yeah, like I don't know what your side of the Haitian side of the family was like, even though they are related, but my dad was much about that tough love. So to tell me, the one time he told me in front of my high school boyfriend that if I lost 20 pounds, I'd be so beautiful. And I had to read him like I was at a library, like I am beautiful no matter what. And he goes, that's my girl. And I'm like, you could have told me so many other ways. Why? But yeah, I think getting older and, you know, my friend Jordan always says you have to meet people where they're at. You know, it really made me realize my mom and my dad were really just a man and a woman just trying to get through life. And they still are, you know.
Yeah. Have they read the book? I love that part in the special when you can see them. I'm curious what their relationship is to this, because you talk really candidly about those ups and downs. What is the vibe with that?
You know what? They are very proud from afar, and let's just keep it there. If I really ask their opinions, they'll give it to me, so I'm good on that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'll always be that 10-year-old who, you know, came home too late, had too much pie, just needs to get this shit together. Like I'm always their little girl, even though she ain't little at all.
Yeah. I'm curious, like, well, okay, so you talk about how you didn't want to date sort of stand-ups or people in that community because you don't want to have a joke written about you. How does that work in terms of your interpersonal relationships? Like, do you have to ask? Do you ask? Do you take license enough to change things so people don't see themselves? Have you ever felt like you had to apologize because someone becomes material? I'm so curious, and particularly because you speak so, you know, personally about your upbringing and relationships in this book.
You know, I think that line is a very interesting place, because you also need to share something as an artist to, you know, get it off your chest, and so you can lay it to rest. But you also don't want to put everybody out there and make them look so bad. So that was a real critical part of the editing process. But again, it's your truth, so you have to speak to your truth. But you know, in terms of if you are a comedian or if you're dating a comedian, I think the best bet is to not run the joke by the person. Use your common sense. You know, I think the test is probably like, would you be able to run it by them? And if that's a yes, have them see you do it on stage. And if it kills, then, I mean, that's very aggressive. I hate saying killing, dying right now on stage, especially in 2020 with so much death. But if it does well, if people find it funny when we ever can go to a show, then yeah, you know, you've like found that the line, you know, and
right.
that's what that is.
And is that sometimes tricky in your marriage, or does that feel?
Therapist on doctor. Hey, God, what you said last week? I forgot. What you said about it? Look.
Do you have
guys like contacted you before this?
No. He didn't, but he's welcome to. Let him know I'm here as a helping hand and a friend. Do you have like a safe word? Do you guys have like a safe word? Okay, so something I really enjoyed, bless Heist for being so lovely, is that you talk about your romantic situations in Game of Thrones, especially. Like you talk about, you know, all of the fabulous moments, navigating dating, navigating being broke, navigating being too drunk and trying to still hook up. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate how sex positive it feels. Tell me more about that. Does that feel risky? Why was that important to you? And then how do you navigate that, which is like a boring like question in the sense that I'm prying, but I'm curious how you navigate that with your marriage, because I feel like in relationship I'm so curious. I want to know about who someone has been with and how they've been, and sometimes that can be dicey, you know.
Yeah, I used to want to know. Now I'm just like, do you know how to load a dishwasher properly? Because you just bowl the way the bowl, you gotta put the bowl. Anyways, so I think for me, and I can't speak for everybody, but definitely for me, growing up as a size or two bigger than everybody, always feeling left out or different or ugly or shamed, or, you know, just being too sexy, even though I'm just a 12-year-old. Sex was very weird for me, you know. Again, Catholic, strict, don't do it. Thought I would save myself in very serious relationships that I was in, and they both cheated on me. I'm like, what is the damn point? So, you know, even down to a professor in college I had that told me I was too fat to be on camera when I told him I wanted to be a journalist. I just never felt loved or that I was worthy of love or sexy. So moving to New York City and having these run-ins with guys and figuring out the dating world and dick, and realizing that I liked dick but didn't need to be with that person. Well, am I a bad person? Am I not lovable? Am I the married kind? And these are all questions. I'm just like, how come I have no one to talk to about this? And how come I'm just like labeled a hoe? And it took me a hot minute to just own my sexuality, especially as a bigger girl, to say, nah, man, this is what I want and this is what I don't want. Thank you. Get your stuff. Goodbye. Oh, you're going to pay for my omelet the next morning at the diner? Thank you so much. I need that protein snack. So, you know, it's not only my husband reading this, it's whatever family members, it's people I don't know, it's my kids. But, you know, I stand by my truth, and that's why at the end of the essay, Game of Hoes, which I really hope y'all enjoy, it really is just about you doing you and not doing anything you feel like you have to do or not do for anyone else. And I don't put my business on display. I don't have a ton of sex stories in my stand-up. There's a lot of sex-forward comedians, which I appreciate. They're out here being a Yelp review for dildos. Good for them. That's not me. But I felt like I also had these wild stories that I would often share at a dinner party or at a bar where I'm just like, man, let's just put this all together and see what happens.
So I really hate when I'm asked this question, but I feel like I want to ask it because you're speaking so much about your younger self, this. So I feel like you must have had this process of really thinking about the things that you didn't know then. What are the things that you sort of wish that you knew when you were younger, or the sort of things that you feel like you understand now that you wish didn't take so long to understand?
Right. I mean, that's such a great question, because that's always like the question, what would you tell your younger self, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, because I'm such a late bloomer and such a slow simmer, I really feel like I appreciate everything and everyone, because I know how hard it is to just to do something, or even just to be loved, or understand what a good friendship, relationship, or job is like. So even loving myself, you can't really fully love yourself until you felt like you have it. And I don't know how to describe it any other way than that. And the only reason why I didn't feel like I was lovable is because that's what society told me, and that's what I saw in magazines and like TV and stuff. So, obviously it's made me the person I want to be, but like, had I always known it's going to get better, I would have definitely held on to that. But I didn't know. I really live in the now. And I was like, get out of Jersey. Just, my first reaction was just like, get out. Go somewhere where there's all different types of shades and shapes of people, so people don't question why you're so light because you're Jamaican and Haitian. Why are you acting black? Why are you trying to act black? All this stuff. And I was like, oh, Lord, like, you guys are the adults. You're supposed to be taking care of me. Why am I trying to explain my life to you? So, my instinct was just to get out, and I'm glad I did. But then my instinct was like, I gotta get back to New York City. I always wanted to live in the city. Let me just get back to New York. So, yeah, I mean.
There was a part when you talked about, I think you were talking about something in the school play or something, and you were saying that it took you so many years to figure out how racist that was.
Yes!
And I think that is so, I'm having the champagne of beers, or just a beer. I don't know. There's a Viking on it.
Oh, nice. Is it like a blonde beer?
I think it's a blonde. Yes, it says it's brewed with coriander and an orange peel, and it's Icelandic.
Oh, yes. What the British Bake Off is going on in your beer?
Listen, everything. The British Bake Off, by the way, was like my safe space these past couple of months. It brought me endless joy and comfort. When your Netflix special came out, did you stay off the internet? What is your relationship to that? And also with this book, because when you have stand-up, you're getting to interact with the audience, and there's this immediacy to performance.
Yeah.
What does this feel like for you? And have you made any deals with yourself around how much you'll engage with what people are saying, or what is that?
Oh man, it's so crazy. What a wild web, right? Like, man, I try to remind people that I am a person too. So whatever comments we're trying to leave, just understand that I am a wife, a mother, a daughter, a person, a taxpayer. And it's not that I'm going to read every comment and be like, who is this person? Because I don't have time for that. And that's the beautiful thing about raising 2-year-old twins, is that they make the day go by fast and slow. But, just the idea that somebody would spew so much hate without even knowing you, and like what they say that to your face is crazy. So I'm not gonna reply to every comment. I block because my Netflix special dropped on September 29th. My mom's like, "What are you gonna do the day after?" I'm like, "I'll just be blocking people on the internet." I block them. I keep it moving. My mantra has always been, if you don't want to hear from me, you're gonna hear about me. Bye, bitch. But yeah, in terms of a book, I have no idea. Like I've only written like blogs or articles or whatever. So this is a whole new thing. I don't know. Oh, rip. I just start Jeffrey tubing everybody at the fucking Strand book event. No!
I know. It's hard to know, right? I had like my first real like big job was this television show, and I remember going on like Reddit or something and like, you know, typing in myself, and just the barrage of crazy,
yes,
really intense racist things that were said for a while. I was just like, oh, the internet is not a safe place. But sometimes I feel like I still engage with it, particularly at this time where it feels like there's, you know, we're like living online. So
yes.
It feels like a tricky time to make a thing and put it out into the world. And it feels like a vacuum. I mean, even now we're having this conversation and there's all these folks. Hi.
That's so funny. We're like talking about social media. It's just like, hello, I'll call you back.
Hi. There's all these folks listening and we can't see them, and it's weird. And I'm also like, I don't know about you, I feel like there's a voyeurism also with being able to engage with what people might be saying or have that thing. So I'm curious to see what this time feels like for you.
It kind of feels like coronavirus. It feels like this virus has too many options, and social media has too many options for destructiveness. And it's just like, I just need 2 or 3 things, and I don't need to go down this path. I've done it before, and it's just not my fight. You know, just to understand that people hurt people. You know, not to sound like a magnet on Etsy, but it's so true. Like, anytime somebody says something, I'm just like, who hurt you, girl? Like, stop. It's okay. Also, you don't have to look at my shit. You can move on is what you can do.
Yeah. I'm curious because obviously so much of your work is about making people laugh and being joyous. Does it feel like you're an essential worker low-key during the pandemic just because this year has been so heavy? Or are you like, I'm doing God's work. Like I'm vitally
fix it.
I mean, I know that essential workers are attracted to you. I know that if I need to go to the post office, I will take you with me. Thank you for that. But do you also feel like your work is vitally important now, or is that a question you can't answer?
You know what? I'm learning that it is. I'm just learning that it is. I have had my head buried since March 13th. Really just trying to be the best, most present partner I can be. Trying to take care of my kids alone, which it sounds crazy, but I've always had help just so I can get a break. And that didn't happen for a long time. And I think the beautiful thing about, the takeaway that I have to take away this year is that we are really forced to depend on ourselves and live in the silence of what our 4 walls are and what that means for us and the choices that we make, because nothing will make you edit your friend list like a pandemic. Like, I just don't have time for you and you and you. I barely have time for me. You don't want my feet. I showed my mom my feet. She's like, what happened? Why are they like that? I said, they just like this. And then 2 days later, she sent me a foot soaker, which is like the rudest but best gift ever. What was the question? Damn it.
The question.
Yes.
Yes, the question. Well, I'll answer it for you. I think yes. What you give to us is essential. This book felt like a solve, as did this special. Have you ever tried baby feet?
Like to eat?
No. I know you have baby feet at home that you can eat. I hope you don't feast on your children. No, it's this mask that you put on your feet. and then you put it on for like, I forget how many hours, and then you take it off, and then progressively, it like takes a couple days, progressively your feet starts peeling layers upon layers to then reveal baby feet.
Yes, I don't have it, but I want it.
Okay, I have a couple boxes of it. It was an early thing that brought me joy during this pandemic. I will send you some of them to try if you promise to send me photographs and video real time of the layers of the feet peeling back. We can move on from this. So you talked about friendship. What discoveries, you talk a lot about friendship in the book. What discoveries have you made about what is important to you in that space as like a whole adult human?
You know, I think it's do you get what you give? You know, for a while it was me doing stuff for all these different people in all different walks of life. And I'm like, yeah, but, and I just kept making excuses for people. And I didn't realize how exhausting it was, because I'm a good person, I'm a fair person. And I do believe that where you are now is not where you will be. But, it's like that door at the end of the Titanic. You think there's enough room, but it's not. Rose was smart. Get the fuck out of here, Jack. Thank you so much for this dead cold hand.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like you have a lot of friends too from because you've lived on both coasts. You've traveled to so many countries. You also have a very warm spirit, and I feel like you can see the good people. And
I like people, but I don't really have a lot of friends. Like I have a small number of really, really close friends. I feel really lucky during this time because I've, all my family's here in Los Angeles, so I've gotten to spend a lot of time with my family, and I feel lucky because I really like them, like as humans. Like they're people I can imagine. Yeah, I could be friends with them if I wasn't happened to be related to them, so I feel really lucky about that. But I don't know, friendship is a tricky thing. I don't know how you felt during this time, especially like I can get so immersed in work sometimes that I can fall out of communication with the people that I love. And I think I feel lucky in the sense that people that I love give me a sort of pass for that. But I also, this year has really, reminded me of the importance of being there and being around, and I'm sure that's been the case for you too, right?
Oh my God, like just for even having enough time to listen to somebody, but also like if you were one of my white friends and you texted me an apology about, I'm so sorry about BLM and I didn't realize, and it's just like, well, let's learn and grow together. Do you know what I mean? Like, and if you're a friend low-key posting stuff on Facebook about Trump, I'm like, thank you for showing me who you are.
Yeah, bye-bye.
That makes it real easy.
Yeah. So wait, so when did you like when your friends text you?
At first, no.
Yeah, okay.
At first, no. I was like, this is some bullshit.
Yeah.
We've been out many times. We have gotten into debates. I don't know why I have to prove that this is real. Police brutality is real. I've had people, particularly European people, check me on my blackness because of the shade. You're not even that black. Why would you care? And I'm just like, see, this is the problem. It doesn't matter what shade anyone is. It's about humankind. So it's like, define.
Yeah.
So it was. There's been so many journeys to this quarantine, because then it was that, and then it was the election.
I know. Was there and what's your relationship to sort of like I don't know. I have this imagination. I went to Amsterdam once, and I was alone, and I like smoked some pot, and I like worked on my type 5 in my mind because I was really stoned, and I was like comedy, and I thought about jokes, and I thought a lot about like just I don't know, gender roles. I was like working on my type 5 around gender, right? It was bad, and I didn't write it down, thankfully, a lot of it, so I don't remember it. I was like, this will stick in the morning. But do you have that, like, when stuff is happening, you know, in the world, is there this instinct in you that you have to be able to translate that into like a bit or a moment, or does it do you get to take a step back from that, or are there times when you feel like are there areas that you feel like you won't go there, like you can't make light of?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good ass question. It really depends on what it is. But I feel like, you know, if you're making Trump jokes, okay, I get it. They can't be peripheral. Some of them can, but you have to sandwich that peripheral bullshit, and the meat should be something real, just a real ass statement. Because comedy right now isn't about, you know, the superficial. It's not about the funny ha-ha. It takes a while to be confident and funny on stage. I'm way past that. And now it's like, if you can be funny, that's great, but what the fuck are you saying? Look, people are looking up to you. What the fuck do you want to say? What is your platform? What do you want people to remember? And so, you know, for a lot of the stuff that's happened to me in my life that's bad, it takes so long for me to like process it and then write about it. But when it's stuff that's happening in community, it doesn't take that long for me to be like, nobody wants to see your dick. That's for the executive. That's for the girl working at Taco Bell getting her uniform in two bigger sizes because she doesn't want to bend over in front of her boss because she knows he's going to look at her butt and say something. But she needs that job. It's for fucking everybody. And so I feel like, you know, I don't give a shit about being preachy anymore.
Yeah.
At all. And that's the thing too, right? It's like, oof, welcome to your 40s.
But do you, okay, so you don't care about being preachy, which I appreciate, but also what happens when then you become like the poster child for something, right? If you talk about inexperience, like I feel like that happens sometimes inside of my work, right? Because it gets politicized. And so I'm curious, even in conversations around body positivity, right? Or if you talk about your experience with having a breast reduction or your relationship to your body or your relationship to, you know, having children and fertility or any of that stuff, do you then feel like you're boxed into a space where that's what people want to talk to you about? That's what people want to put on you? Does that feel frustrating? How do you?
But people are always going to put you in a box.
Yeah, true.
No matter what, there's always boxes. That's how the government fucking keeps tabs on us. It's boxes. And artists, it's our duty to say, no, man, coloring outside the lines. You can't fit this in a fucking box. Whoever the fuck you are. You have the story. Only you know what your story is. So I feel like, sure, you can say I'm the surrogate comic. That's great. Keep saying surrogate. Fucking make it so normal that everybody knows what the fuck you mean when you say it. But there's so much more. And it's up to me to show people. Because if I'm just saying this, then you're just knowing that. So I feel like, you know, people do have crutches. They're like, this is the thing that I'm doing. Because they don't trust their voice to see what else is out there. But man, I just posted this quote from Nina Simone that it, you know, as an artist, it's your duty to create content. And it's fucking true. It really starts with the arts. I always thought art was essential. I just didn't know we would be essential workers in a pandemic.
Yeah. But I know you're right though in this idea of like, you know, being able to normalize something inside of culture, right? Because so much, I mean, the idea of political change being preceded by cultural change. And certainly at this time when we're in this country thinking about how we reimagine what public safety looks like, can we divest from the police, right? One huge impediment to that is people have seen decades and decades of storytelling that says that police officers are do-gooders inside of our community. And so there are some people that cannot imagine living inside of a reality where police are not your friends. So I think you're right in terms of that. I'm curious, and we talked about, I really want to talk more about colorism, particularly colorism in Hollywood. And this thing of you saying like it took you years to realize that something was racist. What does that mean in terms of preparing your children for that? It's
so wild because, you know, people really are judging the book by its cover. And I get it. And I understand why they do. But I think the bigger conversation is between me and my kids. And so my parents were very Caribbean in a way where they were just like, assimilate. You're black, that's it, keep moving. There was no colonialism. There was no, well, who was white? There was no, it's cool, just go. You know what I mean? And like, don't be too loud. You know, don't be one of them. Why do you have to dance like that? Don't be one of them. And so it was never a discussion. And so I want my kids to understand what they're mixed with. I want them to understand what history is, what real history is, that not that shit they might learn in school. And I want them to really sort of celebrate all the parts of themselves, all the fucking parts, because that's what it is. It's a celebration and it's education through love. So yeah, man, crazy.
I watched. Oh, hi.
Hey.
Hi. I'm sorry to interrupt. The conversation's fantastic, but I wanted to fit in some audience questions before we had to close, if that's okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So our first question is, was there a part of the book, Michelle, that was surprisingly challenging for you to share and write about?
Gosh, all of it really. All of it. I think the hardest thing was writing about trying to get my kids baptized, and then when my uncle realized that both godmothers were gay, he said he couldn't do it. And I'm like, do I talk about my family like this? But it really is, again, acceptance, education through love, meeting people where they're at, which is what my friend Jordan Carlos told me, which helps.
Okay. And then our next question is for the both of you. And Jade asks, can you share the story of how you both met? You can also opt not to share the story if you would not like to.
You know, it's okay. I can share the story. Yeah. It was weird because I was doing late night whenever, and I had put out an ask to see if Tessa wanted to do the show. And then within that time, I also got a crazy DM from, I didn't know was a cousin, who was like, I think we're cousins and this, that, and the other. And then when we started sharing photos of our fathers and then realizing what our path was, I was like, okay, we are so damn related. And other family looks like, this is like so crazy. And this is like what the village is, man. It doesn't have to be blood, but it is family.
That's true. All right,
You were like an Ethiopian Santa. You were so cute. You were so nice. Do you have a killer?
Wow. On to the next question. How does the process of writing this book compare to the way you build a stand-up show?
I mean, it's just a different laundry list. Yeah, it's you know, it's just a different laundry list, but it's also like what is worth sharing forever and all of time. You know? So, I mean, I have an essay about my tooth. I'm just like, should we? But it was a journey. It's this one. Thank you so much. Do you have any fake teeth, Tessa?
Yeah, these two.
Yes! That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
A question for both of you. And why don't we begin with Tessa for this one? And it's, what gives you hope in this moment in time?
Oh, what this gives me hope, being able to connect in this way, that you decide to tell your stories. I think all the stories that we tell are just, I don't know, for me it feels like an effort to make people feel less alone, and I feel less alone, like reading this. So that gives me hope.
I love the fact, I mean, I was going to say the same thing actually, because I love the fact that so like me, and I'm like, stand up is great, but what am I really saying? I love that this amazing actress, and you're like, you know what? Let's get behind the camera to make sure everyone has a shot.
Yeah, well, so I want to ask, I know we're taking audience questions, but I really wanted to ask you just about like your thoughts on colorism, because it's something I think a lot about. And, you know, with thinking about producing, I feel really grateful that people talk about representation and that I, you know, take things and they see themselves, and that I'm really aware of all the, you know, women of color and Black women more specifically that don't see themselves in me, right? And might have this feeling of like, could you get out of a movie so I could see someone that actually makes me feel less alone, right? And so I want to ask you about your relationship to that, because you're doing your own thing and you're here, you're there, you're in so many projects. How does that feel for you? How in this moment, particularly in this time, with conversations around Black Lives Matter and the value and dignity of Black life in this country, what does it feel like to also be unpacking privilege of being light-skinned? Like, I know that's a lot of questions, but
that is, especially working on a Black show right now in Atlanta for BET Plus, and being the lightest one there, but also the biggest. I do feel like, well, I always have had a lot of things that I've had to explain. And so I tried to apologize for it, work around it, give the answer that I think that people wanted. And then I realized, wow, my knees are tired from tiptoeing around not only the patriarchy, but racism on both sides and what that means. And so when I started just being like, I don't give a fuck. And I'm funny. Can I just be funny? And I feel like funny has been the reason why I've been, you know, able to be the only child and go to so many different schools and get on a stage and be like, look, we're all in this to fucking together. You didn't think we were funny? You didn't know I was Black? Look, here we are, bitches. You know what I mean? Like, we just gotta get over our shit and have a good fucking time. So for me, it's just like, you know, one brick at a time to build that wall of love. Oh, you want to put it on the back end? Next question. Glug, 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 glug.
Oh, one slightly not book related, but it has the most audience votes, and your fans want to know: do you have any plans to do a virtual comedy show?
Me?
Yeah.
Tessa got a type 5.
No.
Type ass 5.
I don't know, funny.
You're like, shut it down. No plans yet for a virtual comedy show. I'd rather get a pap smear during an earthquake, but that's just where I'm at. Check me in 3 months. Check me. You get it, sir.
I'm familiar with the concept.
My favorite is when men complain about a COVID test swab. I'm just like, try getting that shit like 3 times a week and spreading your legs for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Sorry, I'm getting mad at you. You're so nice.
No, it was a like very powerful image. It drove the point home.
Good. Is there another question?
Yes. And so, is there a second season for First Wives Club coming?
God damn it, I just said I'm in Atlanta like 4 times.
You did, but they kept on voting it up.
I'm in Atlanta to do season 2 of First Wives Club. And it's great. Like, look, this is my part to contributing to the community right now. It's like Black joy is where it's at, you know?
Yeah. And then we have time for just one more question. So I think let's go for one from Rashida, who says, Michelle and Tessa, I have kids, I work from home, and with everything else this year, I'm constantly struggling with balance. Any tips? How are you doing it all and managing not to fall apart? Why don't we begin with Tessa and then end with Michelle?
Okay.
Ooh, I don't know. I think I do. You know, I definitely fall apart. I think this has been like a year of real introspection in moments, and And I think being able to, when that happens, to know that it's all right, you know. And obviously I feel really lucky and privileged that I have my family close and have not thankfully been alone this whole time, but even in the moments when I am and I fall apart, I'm like, well, that's understandable. Like,
yeah, that's a part of it. You have to cry and be sad in order to understand what happiness is. Plus, in terms of balance, it's never going to be what you think it is or what it used to be. You're never going to have it all. The kitchen's never going to be clean all the time. There's always going to be something on the floor. It's never going to be perfect, but it is absolutely perfect within the chaos. And just understand that, you have the love that you need. And that is the most important fucking thing. You could always get a cleaning lady. You could always get a cook. You could always order food. You could do all that shit. But as long as you have breath in your body and pep in your step, you are fucking doing it. That's the balance.
Oh, well, thank you both so much for a fantastic event.
Did you get your period?
Me?
Just kidding.
No, I'm on. Yes, I'm.
Oh, I met him.
Oh.
Oh.
Did you get your period?
Not yet. Certainly not as of yet.
An emotional period. Big deal. Thank you so much, Tessa. You are the best. It's such a weird event, but it's such a cool event, and it's so necessary and fun. And I thank you from the bottom of my plus size heart. And thank you, everybody I saw Hawaii was in the house. Thank you so much. Don't know what time it is for you, but aloha, bitch. And everybody else, thank you so much for buying the book or whatever the fuck you're doing. I appreciate that shit. Look, me and my soul cycle socks. Yes!
Yes! I love these shoes, P.S. Thank you so much for writing this book, for sharing your gift, for making us laugh, for telling your story, for being everything that you are in the world. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bye, everyone. Be good to yourselves. Don't forget to jerk off tonight.
Bye, everyone. Have a great night.